Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is warning his colleagues that the Trump administration is provoking a standoff by moving forward with the so-called pocket rescission plan. He writes this: "It is clear that Republicans are prioritizing chaos over governing, partisanship over partnership, and their own power over the American people." Joining me now is Texas Congressman Dan Crenshaw. Congressman, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for being here this morning. What's your reaction to Schumer and his comments about the Republicans going into this potential shutdown?
Well, Schumer never makes any sense when he talks, so it's hard to comment on what he said. Look, but the appropriations process it's the same dance every single year. There's going to be a lot of grandstanding. It's going to be a difficult negotiation. You do need those 60 votes in the Senate. Neither party ever has 60 votes, so there always has to be some kind of compromise. And when there is no kind of compromise, we end up with a CR for the rest of the year. And there's a lot of drawbacks to that. We'd be operating still off effectively the same budget that was under Biden and Democrats. So I do think we want to get somewhere this time. Our goal as Republicans, as I think the speaker just mentioned on your clip there, is to actually have something to present. That's why we're voting on these appropriations bills. And the Democrats can claim that we're the agents of chaos or whatever other flowery, crazy language they want to use. In the end, if they're not coming up with a list of things that they want us to compromise on, we cannot answer the question on what we would give in order to have a better deal for Americans, and they're the ones not doing that. So that's all we can do is do our job.
So is it your expectation that Democrats will be, loath to sign deals with threats of rescission, and the end game is just flat funding a continuing resolution at the end of the month?
At the end of the month, you could definitely imagine a continuing resolution. For how long? I would imagine a short period of time, just enough time to actually continue some sort of negotiations. Look, Republicans, the president, I think we want a deal. We want a good budget that protects taxpayers, that isn't spending on crazy programs that we've uncovered since the Biden days.
Yep.
And I think that's pretty reasonable. Our job is to make sure that we at least get our appropriations bills done out of the House sooner than later, so that we can move this process along the way it's supposed to be moved along.
Meanwhile, President Trump is cracking down. He announced a lethal strike against Tren de Aragua narco-terrorists yesterday as they were sailing to the U.S. from Venezuela with a boat full of drugs. Secretary of State Marco Rubio told reporters that the administration will wage combat against drug cartels wherever they are. Watch this.
Will you act on Venezuelan soil against the Maduro regime?
Well, this is a counter-drug operation. We're going to take on drug cartels wherever they are and wherever they're operating against the interests of the United States. The president's top obligation is to secure the national interest and the national security of our people. I know of no president that means that more than this one. Our president now, President Trump.
So what do you know about this, Congressman? 11 narco-terrorists, alleged narco-terrorists, were killed in that strike this week. You're leading a task force to combat Mexican drug cartels, right?
That's correct. I mean, well, I lead the work on the cartel issue. Yes, whether there's a task force is another question. But look, this is President Trump doing exactly what he said he was going to do. It's a massive escalation. I'll say that. I've never seen a case where we've actually targeted a drug running boat. Usually we try to interdict them. But interdiction is costly, it's expensive, it's extremely difficult. And I think this is a very welcome escalation. It's in international waters, so I find it ironic that the Maduro regime is calling this some kind of active war, while also claiming that he has nothing to do with drug running operations and the cartels. I'm sorry, but both things cannot be true at once. So remember, the charge from the Trump administration is that Maduro absolutely is in cahoots with the cartels, with Tren de Aragua. So for him to be crying foul on this is sort of him showing his hand. But it's a welcome escalation for the simple reason that it's a deterrence measure. It's one thing to be caught. It's another thing to think that if you embark on this, with a ton of cocaine in your boat, headed towards the United States, and fentanyl laced with that cocaine, perhaps poisoning Americans, you might not just get captured, but also you might have a missile on your head.
Well, I mean, the president is not backing down. He's cracking down across the board. He's also vowing to keep cracking down on crime across the country. He confirmed yesterday that he will deploy the National Guard troops to Chicago soon. He said he didn't give a date, but we're going in. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is pushing back. He claims there's no crime emergency in Chicago. He's vowing to fight the president's actions every step of the way. But look at these numbers. Just from the Labor Day weekend, 8 people were killed over Labor Day and at least 50 others wounded in shootings over the holiday weekend, Congressman.
Yeah, but we hear these wild numbers from Chicago all the time. I mean, 50 people wounded by by gunshots, and it's in very specific places. It's not all over Chicago. So it's not crazy to think that a little bit of extra security might be welcomed by everyone, especially the 99% of the residents that are not shooting people.
Yep.
When you talk about these crimes, you're talking about very concentrated areas with very few people committing the crimes. The police know who they are, but the police can't really act on it because you've got liberal judges, liberal DAs that let them off on cashless bail reform. That was actually one of the best things Trump administration has done very recently, is an executive order that says no more federal funding for jurisdictions that use cashless bail.
Yeah,
in Texas,
that's true.
we also just made that illegal. Cops can't arrest people when they know that they're about to be let loose as soon as they put them in jail by some liberal judge. So, look, people fundamentally need security. That's how you then build businesses. That's how you can safely start sending your kid to school. There's so many other things that follow from security.
Yeah. Real quick before you go, Congressman, 800 new laws in your state, Texas, going into effect this week. The Texas State House passing the new redistricting map. Do you think the GOP gains seats going into the 2026 midterms?
Yeah. I mean, in Texas, it looks like we gain about 5 seats. That'll obviously be quite helpful when it comes to keeping the House. And if we want to keep our agenda going, you need to keep the House. And we have a razor-thin majority right now. We've got to fight for every single seat. So looks like redistricting is done. We might be welcoming 5 new Republican members. And,
all right.
And a lot of new good laws, but there's plenty to talk about there, too. But probably out of time.
Great to check in with you. We will go through all of those laws next time. We so appreciate your time. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Maria.